Hello and welcome, race fans. Tonight is October 1st, and we are here live at the Watkins Glen International Road Circuit. I am Ken Rodriguez, and I am bringing to you live tonight the round one of Assetto Corsa Season 27 here at the NAGP GT Thursday night. This is the feature race, 92 laps, 500 kilometers. We're currently in a wait pattern on the grid right now because if you recall last week, we did have our our qualifying race, our Super Poel qualifying race, and the Super Poel qualifying event actually saw John Ludden take the top spot with a 143 flat, and Aaron Parsons slotted second with 143.1, and that is the way they are starting tonight. Quick rundown of the running order before those lights come on. John Ludden will start in first, Aaron Parsons second, David Poel in third, Brad Maris fourth, Ronnie Nunez in fifth, Jeremy Bryant sixth, Moises Caraballo in seventh, Al Merriman eighth, Alex White in ninth. As a fill-in, he is substituting for Andrew Werner. Luis Fermin in 10th, John McIntyre 11th, Bjorn Heyman 12th, Jack Ivey in 13th, Omar Gomez 14th, Carlos De La Torre in 15th, Nathan Smith in 16th. It looks like Iggy Chiordia just joined us. We'll have to wait for him to slot on the grid. Daniel Smith in 17th, Alfonso Rodriguez 18th, John Wathen 19th, Ian Jolicoeur will slot in 20th, Martin Walters in 21st, and Iggy Chiordia in 22nd. And it looks like Chris Moses now just a little late to the party right now, so it looks like Chris Moses is going to be slotting in 23rd. Just waiting for the lights to come on. These guys are actually, I hope they're not slotting in behind me. Nope, good. So they are actually going to be slotting up further ahead of me. Thankfully nobody will be behind me because I am on the grid with these guys. And we are now just waiting for the lights, and here they are. So once they take off, guys, I will bring you live racing action from the track. And there they go. So we will go ahead and jump back out on track. To establish his command early as he got a jump on the hole shot, it seems, followed by David Poel, Ronnie Nunez, and then Aaron Parsons. Moises Caraballo jumping up into the 5th spot with Brad Maris hot on his tail. So as they come to the top of the boot section here at Watkins Glen, early opening laps. This is lap 1. Brad having to take some evasive action there to avoid hitting Moises. We see that they're starting to bunch up as these drivers jockey for position. Luis Fermin on the outside of Brad Maris. Brad Maris giving him plenty of room, but now Brad Maris able to drift wide as Luis Fermin is going to try the old over-under. John Ludden will be the first to cross the start-finish line. Taking a look at Jeremy Bryant now, one half of Suspect Speed Racing, putting the squeeze on Luis Fermin's car. Oh, just sneaks by. And now Suspect Speed Racing, currently running 6 and 7. These guys might want to get together and start drafting each other around the track to get an advantage over some of these other drivers. Al Merriman slotted into the 9th spot, lost 1 spot after the start. And we see that Bjorn Heyman actually jumped up, starting now. He's up in 10th. By my calculations, I think we might be looking at perhaps 3 stops here tonight. Johnny McIntyre, Ian Jolicoeur, John Wathen. They are driving the BMW Alpina. Carlos de la Torre, whoa, taking it a little wide, almost finds the grass. Alfonso Rodriguez, Omar Gomez, Nathan Smith, Chris Moses slotted in the back. Iggy Chiordia behind him, Nathaniel Smith. So out front with your race leader, John Ludden, followed closely by Mr. Nunez. Nunez this season driving the Corvette C7R. Very nimble and potent car around this Watkins Glen circuit. Slots in behind your race leader, picking up a short draft off of John Ludden's Mercedes-Benz SLS. Right now, these two seem to be checking out as I see that Ronnie Nunez has gone green. It's now going to start putting the pressure on John Ludden for that lead. And I got to tell you, consistency is going to be key here tonight because it's a long race. Pit strategies are going to play an all-important role. So consistency, patience, good pit strategy, preservation of tires, and a good racing line. All important here at the Watkins Glen International Circuit for these guys. 92 laps, approximately 2 hours and 40 minutes of racing. So we're going to start cycling through the field once again. Aaron Parsons up in 3rd. Aaron Parsons this season 1/2 of Precision Motor Racing along with Chris Moses. They were looking to establish themselves a strong lead position early on, starting at this race, but Chris Moses back there in 19th, he's languishing a little bit behind, although this is a long race. Chris Moses is going to want to try and capitalize in moving up as early as he can, pick off those drivers that he can without too much effort and too much straining of the tires. Get up there and help his teammate. So Moises Caraballo leading a contingent of cars here, starting with P5. Then Brad Maris, Luis Fermin, Jeremy Bryant. These four right now are vying for that top 5 position. A little further back from them, Bjorn Heyman leading Alex White, Al Merriman, John McIntyre, and Martin Walters. And Ian Jolicoeur at the back of this pack here, driving that BMW Alpina. Ian Jolicoeur getting a little wild. Jolicoeur currently running in 14th, putting all the pressure on Martin Walters. Martin Walters driving the older version Corvette C6 here for season 27. And Ian Jolicoeur with a good run. Gonna take a look on the inside with that beast of a car, the BMW Alpina. Martin Walters seems to be able to hold on to the lead on the outside. Now going to gain the advantage of the inside line as he locks up those rear tires and tries to put the squeeze on Ian Jolicoeur. Ian Jolicoeur having none of that. So there seems to be, at least from the broadcaster's perspective, a problem with the BMW Alpina showing the car directly in front when in the cockpit view, because you can see the shadow, you just can't see this car. So something going on there. Not exactly sure what that is. So now Alfonso Rodriguez is able to get in on this little bit of a battle for P13 between Ian Jolicoeur and Martin Walters. And for those of you that are watching the broadcast live, I'm sorry I do not have the chat room open. And I do not have the broadcast on my side monitors here. So I apologize. There is no live chat with the broadcaster tonight. And it will be that way throughout the season. Oh, looks like Alfonso Rodriguez taking a look on the inside of Ian Jolicoeur. Ian Jolicoeur going to keep it wide, taking the fast line around the top of the boot area. I'm going to tell you that tire preservation is going to be all important here, because these guys are going to be looking to do some pretty long stints here if they want to stretch this out to about 3 stops. That's an average of 30 laps per stint. No doubt that tire choice, a key element in their race strategy. So Alex White now languishing back in 15th. Not sure what happened to Alex White, but he must have had an offer. He must have had some type of coming together with somebody, but he's languishing back a bit in 15th. And here you've got Chris Moses now putting all kinds of pressure on Nathan Smith. And it looks like Chris Moses might have had a disconnect a little bit earlier. And he's going to be looking to pick off some of these drivers one by one. So Nathan Smith early into the braking zone, and Chris Moses is going to get by him. So Alex White goes into the pits. I would have to imagine that there may have been some damage to Alex White's car, so we'll try to get a read on that a little bit later for you. But we're going to go up front with your leader as he now comes up on the tail of John Wathen early in this race, lap 7. John Ludden gonna get by John Wathen. Sorry for getting tongue twisted there. And here we see Aaron Parsons now on Ronnie's tail, putting a little bit of pressure there on Mr. Nunez. John Wathen just caught in a bad spot where he really does not want to be. So the wonder from down under running in third right now, David Poel. David Poel, 1.5 of 05 Motorsport, currently running in fourth. "13 minutes into this race, and these drivers are now working on putting down lap number 8. 7 are in the books. David Poel flat out through the penultimate corner here, and nearly flat out on that last turn. Gonna post up at 1:44.983. Down into third gear for David Poel as he gets quick back on the gas. I like the look of the steering wheel in this Dodge Viper SRT. Looks like an all carbon fiber steering wheel with red aluminum GT shifter paddles and perhaps some Alcantara material there on the side for the hand grips. So David Poel running in fourth. And here we have a three-way battle going on for the lead as we jump on board with Aaron Parsons. And we saw Ronnie Nunez trying to take a look on the inside. Couldn't make it stick. Oh, as Ronnie Nunez takes it wide, and Aaron Parsons has a moment there of squirreliness. So he gets right back on. It's going to give him a chance. Take a look on the outside of Ronnie Nunez. Ronnie Nunez going into the defensive position. Going to try and defend that corner. And they're going to continue 1, 2, and 3 through turn 1. So 9 laps down, these guys are working on lap 10 now, as again Ronnie Nunez is going to take a look to the outside. Oh, Aaron Parsons with, oh, we see a car go off there. Let's see, what was that? Oh, Alex White with another off. Alex White having a horrible night. On board, Moises Caraballo. Moises Caraballo currently running in 5th. So your top 17 on the lead lap right now as the scoring and timing stands. Brad Maris, your resident driving instructor, trying to chase down a very speedy Moises Caraballo. It looks like Maris might have given himself an opportunity to gap here, rethinking some strategy, perhaps some tire preservation. Wanting to make it to the first pit window without an incident, because I gotta tell you, while 92 laps is a lot of time, you are dealing with some of the best virtual racers in the virtual racing community, and so Brad has a little bit of a moment there. So John McIntyre, Bjorn Heyman, John McIntyre, Martin Walters, all in a little bit of a heated battle here. Johnny McIntyre gets around Bjorn Heyman with an aggressive outside pass. Martin Walters tries to follow suit, but it doesn't look like the car just wanted to stick on the outside of that turn. So these guys now head into the boot and toe section of the Watkins Glen International Circuit. Walters with a tight line drifts to the outside, with Bjorn Heyman taking the middle of the road, making that Mercedes-Benz as wide as a tractor trailer. John McIntyre gets the pass done, so good on him. John McIntyre now running in 9th. And here goes Walters looking to the outside. Bjorn Heyman with the defensive line. Certainly looks like Walters might have some pace. Oh, and here comes Alfonso Rodriguez now. Oh, as we see another Corvette just take it off there at the end. And that's Ronnie Nunez. Ronnie Nunez dropping like a rock in a pond. And he is out. His car is dead. There is nothing going on with Ronnie Nunez's car. And it looks like his race is done. On board with Nathan Smith, driving the Lamborghini Huracan. It's a Hurricane for you English speaking folks. Cycle a little bit further back. Jack Ivey running in the last points paying position. He's up in 16th. Alex White back into the pits, and like I said, Alex White just not having a good race here tonight. We see that Omar Gomez and Carlos de la Torre are back in 17th and 18th respectively, and having a battle of their own. Inside the cockpit with Carlos de la Torre. Gomez going to take the defensive line into the... Oh, he goes to the outside and causes Carlos to have to check up on his brakes. Carlos with a bit of a run. Looking on the outside, Omar Gomez takes the defensive line. Can he hold it? Carlos de la Torre with a bit of a run here again. Oof. Close. having a great battle out here for 17th and 18th respectively. Back up front with your race leaders. So Aaron Parsons gets by... I'm sorry, Aaron Parsons inherits second place after Ronnie Nunez drops out. Ronnie Nunez is out of the race. It's an unfortunate happening. So your running order now: John Ludden, Aaron Parsons, David Poel in third. Moises Caraballo is running in fourth. Brad Maris fifth. Luis Fermin in sixth. Jeremy Bryant in seventh. John McIntyre actually making his way all the way up into eighth place. Go Johnny Mac. And a big thank you to Johnny McIntyre for the exclusive NAGP, pit app that he developed from scratch, and he also developed an exclusive app for the Formula Abarths on Monday nights. So a big thank you to Johnny Mac for that. Guy, you are a great contributor to this community. Thank you for your efforts. So Martin Walters in ninth. Al Merriman drops back now to 10th with Ian Jolicoeur and Alfonso Rodriguez on his tail. Let's keep it here for a second because looks like a good battle shaping up here for that 10th spot. Al Merriman is leading Ian Jolicoeur, and then Martin Walters through the last few turns. Oh, Walters scrapes that outside wall. Gets some dirt on that car. On board with Martin Walters, the hood cam. As we see in Jolicoeur trying to hunt down Al Merriman. Ian Jolicoeur going to take a look on the outside. And he's got to be careful, boy, because that could give Martin Walters an advantage. You take it too wide. That BMW Alpina is it's quite a heavy car. Right up there with the Bentley GT3 car. These guys having a heck of a battle, but we see that there's also a battle going on up front for that lead. John Ludden, Aaron Parsons running real close to one another. So this is for the race lead. We're looking at Aaron Parsons. And no, not to worry, Aaron Parsons is not running into the gates. Essentially what that is when Assetto Corsa loses where the driver is on the track, it will just continue to render his car going straight or up in the air or something of the like. As we now look out the back of your race leader's car, John Ludden has led from the green flag. It was Ronnie Nunez, Aaron Parsons, David Poel. Now it's Aaron Parsons, David Poel chasing down your leader. And these two have checked out from the rest of the field. I gotta tell you, because the rest of the field is nowhere to be found. Not close to these guys. So Luis Fermin, he's currently running in 5th. Coming up on Carlos de la Torre to put him a lap down. John Wathen takes it off. So this is the race that I wanted to get back to. And, you know, it looks like Alfonso Rodriguez, Al Merriman, nearly side by side, going into that corner. These guys are having a really tough battle out here, just going back and forth. Chris Moses now up in this battle for 10th place. We're going to take it back to Ian Jolicoeur's car because he seems to have the vantage point, and unfortunately this Alpina does not have a good onboard camera. So Aaron Paul, we missed the pass. Aaron Parsons gets by John Ludden for the lead as we're trying to follow this battle here in the mid-pack. So sorry about that, folks. We'll go ahead and try and take it up front because it looks like there's still quite the battle going on for the lead here. So Aaron Parsons getting by John Ludden for the lead. John Ludden not wanting to give up that lead. Looks like he's trying to answer back. So your new race leader, Aaron Parsons. Guys now starting to space themselves out. We are going to take it back to that mid-pack battle. With Alfonso Rodriguez, Chris Moses now. Wow, Chris Moses all over Alfonso's tail. So now Alfonso Rodriguez and Chris Moses are starting to check out from the earlier battle with Al Merriman and Ian Jolicoeur. And so Moses on the outside now looks to have the advantage as they come up the long straight. Chris Moses going to take over that 10th spot. No doubt we'll probably see Chris Moses start to check out, and looks like John Ludden putting back pressure on Aaron Parsons. Oh, and now David Poel. David Poel looks like he might have found something. So we're back after a short break, as we see John Ludden taking it wide on turn 1. Now Aaron Parsons is starting to establish a lead over John Ludden. So we know that John Ludden didn't have an off, so I'm just wondering if perhaps now we may be looking at, yeah, these guys have completed 20 laps. If we might be looking perhaps at some tire degradation starting to kick in, and I would assume, just based on the length of this race circuit here, so if they're going to shoot for 2 stops, as opposed to a 3-stop race. I mean, 3 stops means these guys would be pitting right about now, lap 21 or so. If they were going to go with a 3-stop strategy, but I don't think that's what's on the menu for tonight. 92 laps. Some of these cars, oh, we see that one of the Renaults might be, or the McLarens might be coming into the pit. And let's see, who is this we are looking at? So John Wathan in the pits, Jack Ivey in the pits. These guys may be going for 3-stop strategies. Moises Caraballo stays out. Luis Fermin stays out. Brad Maris is out. Jeremy Bryant is still out. So yeah, it doesn't look like everybody might be adapting that same pit strategy. Not exactly sure. We're going to have to figure out what these guys are up to. Looks like there's a battle going on for that second spot right now between David Poel and John Ludden. So no doubt that these guys, their tires are perhaps starting to get a little stressed right now, and we'll just have to see what the pit strategy is for today. David Poel in the pits. Oh, and I'm surprised. Carlos de la Torre is in the pits, but it's not picking him up on the broadcaster app. So David Poel into the pits. Not exactly sure why the pit app is not picking them up in their pits. And now we don't have the hash marks to show how many times they've pitted. So I'll have to take that back to Mr. John Ludden. Might have to look into it. So nice little battle actually here. I mean, these guys are spaced out, but looks like Moises Caraballo's got some smooth sailing going on right now. So we're gonna take it through the field, see who's doing what, who's where. David Poel comes out of the pits in 6th, even though it shows him in 9th. That is not the case. And again, sorry folks, I'm not able to tell you who has pitted or how many times. It's unfortunate because this app that we use is a phenomenal app. Still under development by its creator. So now John Ludden slots out before Aaron Parsons from the pits. And it looks like we might be at this battle all over again, with the advantage going to the Mercedes on fresh tires. So we got Moises Caraballo out in the lead, Luis Fermin in second, Brad Maris third, Jeremy Bryant fourth, Martin Walters, David Poel. Now, Poel actually being the first to have pitted will inherit the lead when those that are in front of him on older tires eventually do start coming into the pits. So 24 laps complete out of 92. 44 minutes into this one. We've got about 2 hours left to go of racing. So this is an endurance event for these drivers. Omar Gomez is now out. John Wathen is out, although his car is still in here. So, in essence, your race leader would be David Poel, who makes short work of Martin Walters right now. David Poel has pitted. We saw him come into the pits. Like Aaron Parsons has the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:44.426. So your top cars stay out. It's Moises Caraballo currently running in first, followed by Luis Fermin, and then Brad Maris in third. And these guys carrying a long first stints. Jeremy Bryant in fourth, and David Poel in fifth. David Poel gonna get by De La Torre with nominal ease at this point, and so we're gonna take it up front one more time and see what these drivers decide to do within these next few laps, because long first stints for these guys. And let's see, these guys. Let's go back to the pits. So we see that Moises is on mediums, Luis. So everybody seems to be on mediums out here. Yep, the entire field on medium tires. And so Moises Caraballo must have had an off as he now just instantly dropped to 4th place and has given the lead over to Luis Fermin, who will perhaps lead for at least one lap. Boy, and I think I know what the problem is with pit detection. If I did not update my track, then that would be the explanation. So, John, if you see this in the broadcast, I believe it is on my end here. I do not believe that I updated the track with the new start-finish line that extends across pit road. So, yeah, I believe that that is the problem that I am having. So the laps might look a little screwy in the timing and scoring app that I have up to the left. Let's see if P-Tracker is showing the same things. So, John Ludd and Aaron Parsons back at it again. So, looking at your race leader, Luis Fermin coming through the last few corners of the Watkins Glen circuit. Is he going to pit this time around? Once Assetto Corsa figures out where he's at. And it looks like Assetto Corsa has completely lost Luis Fermin. Now that was just weird. And Luis Fermin is gone from the server. He lagged out. So that puts Brad Maris up in the front. Jeremy Bryant, Moises Caraballo, 1, 2, and 3 right now. So Suspect Speed Racing right now at the moment 1 and 2, followed by Gotta Go By's Jeremy Bryant. Moises Caraballo in 3rd, and David Poel just behind this contingent of cars. Let's see what's going to happen this time by with 53 minutes down in the books already. And no, Brad Maris is going to stake it out, but Jeremy Bryant bringing it into the pits. Brad Maris out in first. Moises Caraballo, David Poel, John Ludden now getting John Ludden, then Aaron Parsons. Battling for 4th and 5th. Oh, we see David Poel now starting to put the fresh rubber pressure on Moises Caraballo because these guys are on long stints. David Poel has pitted already. And David Poel will eventually pick up the lead when the rest of these guys decide to pit. So David Poel now picks up that 2nd spot. Let's see what Moises Caraballo decides to do here towards the end of this lap. David Poel now moving up into the 2nd spot. Your race leader navigating these last few corners, I would have to think that Brad might be coming in at this point to the pits. And Brad is in the pits. He's going to relinquish the lead now to Mr. David Poel, and Moises Caraballo also into the pits. So 31 lap stint for these guys. Wow. So, Aaron Parsons, John Ludden, Brad Maris right now in the pits, Moises Caraballo in the pits, and here comes Al Merriman into the pits. Jack Ivey out there running in 13th. Brad Maris still in the end. Brad Maris is gone. So looks like Maris is going to slot out in 4th behind Ludden, Parsons, and Poel. So the real story here after the first round of pit stops is David Poel, who pitted 1 lap earlier than everybody else, inherits the lead. And is now out in 1st place with 31 laps in the books and working now on putting 32 down. So your race leader, David Poel, working on lap number 33. Aaron Parsons up to 2nd, and John Ludden in 3rd. Right behind Aaron Parsons now. Ludden taking it wide in turn 1. These drivers have to be careful because the competition committee will be scoring those as cuts as you run wide. So the 10% cut rule in effect here is 10 cuts will give you a 1 lap penalty. They will take away 1 lap from your finishing score. So these drivers want to be real careful with that, especially around that turn 1. And that is a very muddied McLaren. being driven by Carlos de la Torre. Jack Ivey out there, still in 13th. Nathan Smith. Nathan Smith currently running in 14th. Martin Walters running in 15th. That's Chris Moses. Chris Moses, after having started at the back of the pack, has made his way up to 7th. Iggy Chiordia running back in 17th, one outside of the points. Carlos de la Torre actually sneaking up into the points. We're down to 18 drivers. Wow. Nathaniel Smith running in 18th. Al Merriman in 11th, about to put Daniel Smith a lap down. Just in front of David Poel. David Poel is your race leader. 34 laps down. So Aaron Parsons still holding down second. John Ludden in third. Brad Maris, 1/2 Suspect Speed Racing, running in 4th. Moises Caraballo in 5th. Chris Moses now all the way up to 6th from the back of the pack. I've lost quite a few drivers out here to there's been quite a bit of attrition in this race thus far. So we've brought Mr. John Wathen up here into the broadcast booth. John, do you copy?
I got you.
So, how's it going? I see that you are out of the race. What happened to you?
I had some trouble early. Car got a little snappy loose, hit the wall, and had an incident and tried to pit. And when I pitted, I screwed it up. Didn't get the changes I wanted, and then came in again and kind of figured out there was a little issue with the pitting, so got a little irritated, and I came out of the pits and lost it, hit the wall, and that was it for me.
I hear you, man. It's a shame, boy, because this is certainly one long race, but You are welcome to stay up here for a while, man, as long as you want, and I'm sure you're out there peeping everybody else, right?
Yep, trying to keep Ian up to date on what's going on. Looks like Al is planning on doing a two-stopper, Al and his teammate.
Well, you know what? I think Al and Suspect Speed Racing also, Brad Maris and Jeremy Bryant, Moises Caraballo and Al, they all took it into lap 31. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that'll get them there. I could do 26 max, but of course we're carrying 40 kilos for changing cars.
That's right. Yeah, you guys got that 40-kilo penalty, so that would have ended up in a three-stop strategy for your team, no?
Oh yeah, there's no way. I mean, we wouldn't have been close.
And so Ian is also carrying that 40 kilos with him tonight.
Correct.
Right. So, well, I mean, you know, you guys will figure it out. You guys lose the 40 kilos after this round. We're rooting for Ian to just stay out there and do the best that he can, no? Because it's not been easy.
Yeah, I was surprised a few minutes ago. I was looking around. I was watching Al for Ian because once I disconnected or DNF'd, I wasn't paying that much attention, and he asked me where Al was and if he pitted. So I kept watching, and it's like, nope, not this lap, not this lap, not this lap. Oh wait, he must have already pitted again. And he was like, no, I think he's staying out. So I watched that for a while and then figured out when it got to 31 and he pitted, I thought, uh-oh, we can make it.
Yeah, you know, I think that I didn't download the latest track update, so I have the track version where the start-finish line does not extend all the way across the pit lane. So I can't get the pit detection up on the broadcast app, so that's just unfortunate because the entire field is pitted already and I'm not showing anything.
Yeah, I guess I don't have that app, or I don't know where to look to see who's pitted and who hasn't.
Yeah, it's a broadcast app being developed by John Ludden right now, and it's still in beta phase. It's more of a broadcast. That's what it's actually called, broadcast tools, and it's just two windows. It's the timing and scoring on the left, and it gives you race and lap info at the top. But yeah, unfortunately, I think I screwed up and did not download the latest track update that Al put out there, and it's not giving me pit detection. But just looking at what's been going on, so you know, David Poel actually had an advantage. He pitted one lap before Aaron Parsons and John Ludden did, and gained that advantage because he jumped them while they were in the pits, and now is comfortably running out there in the lead with some semi-fresh rubber anyway.
Yeah, see that. So, did you say, who was the other team that's actually going the distance? It was Brad and Bryant,
Suspect Speed Racing. These guys came in on, well, Bryant came in on lap 30, and I saw Brad head in on 31 along with Al and Moises.
Okay, yeah, 30 would do it on one of your stints.
Yep, and I did check the board to see what compound these guys were running in. The entire field seems to be on medium, so I was a bit surprised that they were actually able to take it that far into their first stint.
Yeah, the tires felt good. I went in early, and it didn't change my tires, although I thought they were going to change them. And I realized that, you know, later on in the stint that it's still on the same set of tires, but they actually, you know, the mediums last pretty long in this series.
Yeah, it took me by surprise for sure because, like I said, 30 laps is around this place with these guys. Seems like a lot to ask for a set of tires.
Yes.
But you got a nice battle going on between Parsons and Ludden for that second spot with one lap car between them. Well, They had a lap car between them. Ludden just getting by one of the Smiths. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's a long race, man. 92 laps, 500 kilometers, and I can't help but think that some of these guys must end up with tunnel vision at the end of the night. No?
Yeah, I would expect that. Brad and Al are having a good little battle there, and that could be for the win, actually.
Yeah, you know, I see that. I just caught up with that battle now, and yeah, Brad's putting that pressure on. I see that Brad's putting that pressure on Al Merriman. Looks like Brad's going to take a look on the inside and might get it as they go into turn 1.
Yeah, I think maybe Al lifted a little bit just to keep from being too confrontational.
Oh, Brad took it way wide and let Al back by. I think Brad might have missed that apex over there. I mean, clearly Brad's got the pace on the Porsche.
Yeah.
So drag race it to the top of the boot, and it looks like Brad will win that race. So looks like Al will have to slot in behind Mr. Maris.
Yep, that would worry me if they battled for too long, because they'd be using extra fuel, although they do have one extra lap, so...
Well, I don't know. I thought that perhaps getting a draft off of someone might actually help your fuel preservation, no?
Well, yeah, drafting would, but if you're actually battling, I know I use a lot more fuel trying to hang on to a spot.
Yeah, I do the same. I tend to have that same effect. My fuel just burns off a whole lot faster. So let's talk the Formula Abarths on Monday. You're in that series as well. What do you think of it so far?
That's some of the best racing I've ever had. It is so fun. Those cars are awesome. My teammate is really showing his true colors, Chuck.
Yep.
He absolutely loves the car.
Yeah, Chuck. We've not seen Chuck in that form for a little while, so it's good to see him return to previous form, because I remember the days when Mr. Carter was quite competitive around here, and it looks like these Formula Abarths have certainly sparked his interest. And you state something very interesting, you know, that this is perhaps some of the most fun you're having racing. I have to agree. The fact that the administrators of the league opted to keep the physics stock and really not tamper with them, I quite honestly believe that it leveled the playing field. It's come down now to who knows what the car can do and your driving ability. Yeah,
and you can see the differences too, because the cars have such a wide range of adjustments that, I mean, you can have a guy with relatively low wing and a guy with relatively high, and you can really see the differences, you know, per lap.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And you know what? It was like at Spa. Low wing did not necessarily translate into the fastest laps, because we saw some of the guys with higher downforce at Spa running those faster lap times when they were able to keep it flat out through the infield. They may have been a mile or 2 per hour slower on the long straights, but you know, come to the areas like Poel and the Lesmos, these guys were able to keep their foot on the throttle a lot longer. Yeah,
I had a pretty high downforce setup at Spa and was able to really, you know, put in a good second sector every lap compared to a lot of the people around me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. And I mean, you know, the suspension settings, you know, while I think they're a little limited in what they can do for the car, I believe that the aero setups and your dampers and camber are perhaps going to be the most important things that you can adjust on those cars. And so, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've essentially been running the same setup that we've been using from our school days with Brad some weeks ago, just making minor adjustments to camber and aero.
Yeah, pretty much me too. The cars have a pretty good setup to begin with, but the aero, you can kind of tweak the aero and the gears to the track that you're racing. And I've done some laps at Hungaroring already, which is the race this upcoming Monday, and I'm using the same setup as Zandvoort, and it feels really good. And that's going to be some exciting racing because, you know, Zandvoort's a really bumpy, tight track, and the Hungaroring is very wide and smooth with large runoff areas. So I think they're going to see some very good side-by-side racing at that track.
I believe so. Yep, and I too am running my Zandvoort setup with some small aero changes, and that's really the only change that I've made. Actually, the gear setup works well at the Hungaroring that I was using for Zandvoort as well.
Yeah, same here.
So go figure. Looking forward to it. Hopefully I'll have a better outcome. I mean, this Monday didn't treat me too nice.
Yeah, same with me. I completely messed up and ran out of fuel before the first stop, or before the stop. Thinking, well, I thought, you know, I heard guys talking about they can go 25 laps on fuel, and I was on lap 24. I was actually on 23. I had a spin and decided I was going to pit, and then thought, no, I'll go one more lap, because I was going to actually go from hards to softs for the second stint, a shorter stint, and I didn't want to run out of tires at the end of the race. So I went as far as I thought I could, but then I ran out of fuel and realized I did start the race with a little less fuel than full, so completely my fault.
Yep. So just taking a look real quick at your race leader, David Poel, now putting Al Merriman down one lap. So, I mean, currently you've got the top 3, top 4 on the lead lap. And David Poel just went around Al Merriman to put him one lap down.
It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing the lap times that some of these guys run consistently.
Well, I mean, qualifying, you had guys running in the 43s for crying out loud. And if I remember correctly, well, so qualifying, the pole was set with a 143 flat, but I remember seeing Louis Furman during practice last week set a 142, a high 142. So these guys are really pushing the envelope on their cars.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I think Ian said that he timed some pit stops before this race, and there were about 45 seconds for fuel and tires. So, you know, that's going to put Al and Brad back on the lead lap, but you know, there's 45 seconds in there they're saving. That's it.
Yeah, I know that they extended the time for refueling and tire changes on these cars because they were unrealistically fast last season, if I remember. I mean, it was like a Formula One pit stop.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. It's much quicker than GTR2, which is nice.
Oh yeah.
But you know, from time you hit the pits till you come out is about 40 to 45 seconds, I think.
So, story of the night: Chris Moses up in 4th from last place.
Is that shocking to anyone?
Well, I mean, probably not, but the mere fact, I mean, he had a good, I believe he had slotted 10th for the race. He was supposed to start 10th, and I think he had a disconnect right before the race start, and it slotted him in back in like 26th or something. But
wow.
yeah, he's fought his way up to 4th spot right now, and so he's running comfortably in 4th.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most consistent guys and one of the fastest guys ever. So
well, it looks like
surprise me a bit.
Yep, looks like your partner's coming under some intense pressure there. Brad Maris right now is all over his tail. And this is for position. It looks like Brad Maris is going to sail by Ian.
Yeah, Ian. Well, Ian might realize that they're on a different strategy and just kind of let it go. But he also is carrying 40 kilos, so he's gonna realize there's not much of not much he can do when one of these fast guys comes around.
Well, you guys had originally selected which car? He was on vacation during the draft, right? So you made the selection for the team?
Yeah, yes. Since he's French, Canadian, kind of, I selected the French car, the Renault. And it turned out to be like a guillotine, so it tried to kill me. And then Ian hated it when he got back.
So what do you guys feel about the BMW Alpina?
I tell you what, I like it a lot. Ian picked it, but once we tweaked the setup somewhat, did lots of laps, it feels really good. Once we get the weight off next week, I think it'll be a pretty good car.
Nice. So I mean, Ian's running a respectable 10th right now. That took a little wide.
I saw some lag there with Ian. That was crazy.
Yeah, he took it a little wide. I believe these guys get 10 shots at that. But, yeah, so a lot of attrition here tonight. We've got 18 drivers still running out of, I believe we started with 26. So we've lost about 8.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. We're missing Ronnie, who was extremely fast. I didn't see what happened to him earlier.
Well, I saw that on about 3 corners before the end, before the start finish, before the final turn, he had pulled it off the track. His car was turned off. I don't know what happened. I didn't get a chance to pull him up into the broadcast booth to find out. He was fast as heck. Don't know.
Yeah, Luis is gone too.
Yeah, some of the really fast guys. Alex White was having a horrible night tonight. Kept taking it off track. Didn't get an opportunity to pull him up here. Don't know what was happening with him.
Well, I talked to Alex, and he thinks there was a bug with the game. He had some damage early, and he went into the pits, and apparently it didn't get fixed. And his car, he said his car was awful when he came out of the pits. He couldn't control the rear end of it, so I would assume that he probably couldn't handle it, or something was going on with the game, and he decided to DNF after he had some trouble after the pit stop.
Yeah, it's a shame, I gotta tell you, because typically Alex very fast around here.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
But it wasn't to be tonight.
No. I tell you what, I'm going to at the end of this lap, I'm going to leave the server. I'll stay on with the broadcast if you want, but I want to leave the server and save the replay because I don't think the competition committee can get a whole replay since this race is so long.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. Not a problem. I think you can actually join back in, if I'm not mistaken, and just stay in the pits.
Oh yeah, good idea. I'll try that.
So
I'm gonna go ahead and leave right now and then come right back.
Yeah, sure. And so while John is off doing that, helping the competition committee, we're going to take it back out on track, and we have your race leader, David Poel, who seems to be out comfortably now. Aaron Parsons, Chris Moses getting some heavy pressure from John Ludden right now as John Ludden pulls up on Chris Moses' bumper. Chris running in third as he got by John Ludden, and now, well, no surprise there, Chris is now starting to check out. take it through the field here. Alfonso Rodriguez. Alfonso running in 6th. Jeremy Bryan in 7th. John McIntyre now into the pit. So John McIntyre on his 2nd pit stop here at lap 47. Looks like it's going to be a 3-stopper for these boys, as we see his teammate Jack Ivey go by. And McIntyre is off. So McIntyre slotting back out into 10th. Ian Jolicoeur behind McIntyre now. So Ian Jolicoeur now leaving the pits. And Aaron Parsons in 2nd comes by the start-finish stripe to commence on lap number 48. So we're just past the halfway point here by 1 lap, and we've got about 41 laps left to go, so about another hour and 20 minutes. Parsons running in 2nd place. John Ludden in 3rd. Moises Caraballo now slotted back up into 4th, and we see that Chris Moses now has his pit stop, comes out back in 6th.
So Ken, you're up in New York. Have you been to this track?
I work for Sprint, right? And I work in the engineering department. I'm a manager for engineering. I actually live in New Jersey now, but some years ago, when we were still Nextel, I used to support the NASCAR races. And yes, I've been to all of the tracks up and down the eastern seaboard. Just about all of them, because we used to, of course, set up mobile cellular networks or temporary cellular networks for these venues.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So, yeah, I've been to Watkins, Glen, New Hampshire, Dover, Richmond, Pocono, West Virginia. I mean, you name it. Anything on the eastern seaboard, I've been to it. I think the furthest out I've gone, well, the furthest track west was Chicagoland Speedway, when I had to cover for one of my peers in the Midwest region that one year could not make it to support the races, and they asked me to go out there. I love Chicagoland. It's a great raceway. Oh, and one of my favorites, Loudon, New Hampshire.
Oh, nice. I know Lou goes to, he used to go to New Hampshire every year for the NASCAR race. I don't think he's been the last year or so, but he's not too far from there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, man. So you're back in the server, I see?
I am.
Good stuff. Yeah. So I was just talking about how David Poel's out there, and Parsons, John Ludden, and Moises Caraballo, kind of like where they, you know, they kind of left off at the first stint, so to speak, before the pit rotation started. But So we won't see Suspect Speed Racing come into, or Gotta Go By come into the pits till about lap 62, 63.
Yeah, that would be the opening of their pit window if they want to go to the end.
So I see Ian now running in P11. Little distance behind John McIntyre. John McIntyre has actually been having a really good race here tonight. Been pushing really hard.
Yeah, he's looking good in that Nissan.
Yep. He and Jack teamed up this season for Team All Black and Blue.
Yeah, two of the nicest guys around this whole league, too.
Yes, sir. I was just mentioning earlier on the broadcast before bringing you up here, giving big kudos to John McIntyre for the work that he's done on the pit app. I know that we've been, you know, working through our quirks and having some issues with it and stuff like that, but I know that eventually we'll get it figured out.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome what he's done. I mean, I think we're taking advantage of people when we go on the open servers for Assetto Corsa, and we've got this pit app, so we can just kind of zip in and out of the pits and pass everybody.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unfair advantage, but you know what? It's all good.
Yeah. We were the smartest ones to figure it out.
Does it surprise you? I mean, it's incredible. I gotta say this. It's incredible what our administrators in this league have done to bring us to this point within a sim that, you know, by large definition is still being developed. You know, a lot of code, a lot of features have already been implemented and are permanent in the sim. But, you know, small features that have still been yet to release and stuff like that. These guys have done an absolutely phenomenal job in either developing apps or just finding workarounds to bring this platform up to the quality and the expectation of what this league is held to, a high standard.
Yeah, I agree completely. John McIntyre's a big tech guy too, and it's awesome to have him developing apps for us.
Yep.
He also is big, you know, he's a big, being a big tech guy, he's always on the top of the latest and greatest hardware. And then when he upgrades, he's the first guy to offer it up to any of the other guys that may need some hardware. You know, he's awesome about that. I've picked up something from him. You know, he's helped a whole lot of guys out here with you know, that were, you know, struggling with older hardware, and once he upgrades, he sends it on. It's awesome.
Not to mention that he's very selfless, because last season we ran into, of course, one of the problems that we have here with Assetto Corsa, which is not having enough pit bays to sometimes allow the broadcaster on. And one race, he went ahead and, you know, he got in a Ventrilo channel with Al and I, and he said, "Hey, listen, guys, whatever's best for the league." And he gave up his ride for that one night, which was fantastic. It was awesome.
Yep, I remember that.
And, you know,
I also remember the race they had a couple seasons ago with he and Gup at Indy in the rain. They were in the Aston Martin, and they played the perfect strategy and finished 1-2, and it was awesome. It was the best race ever.
I so remember that race. So.
Because it was guys, you know, it was guys like me that, you know, are not going to win a race, but, you know, we try, we have a blast, and every once in a while the gods shine upon you, and something turns out, and you can have a shot at it. And those two, it was just unbelievable when those two ran 1-2 at that race against this pretty much world-class field. It was awesome.
Yup, and you know what? That right there, that's the character that embodies the guys here in this league. Are we perfect? No, not by a long shot, but we are a community. And it's like I mentioned on the broadcast to a lot of the folks that are out there that have heard about North American Grand Prix, contemplate NAGP. You know what? Give us a try. I know that you won't regret it. We offer some of the best virtual racing in the world for all levels.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a great community too, because I think I've counted 15 or 16 of the racers here that I've met personally. We go to races. We've gone to Indy several years. We go to the last 2 years we've run to the Rolex. It's a blast meeting these guys.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this much: if they are planning Rolex again for January, I am so there. I will take it. Yeah, I will take and drive down there if I have to, or fly down there, whatever the case. But after I saw all those pics and whatnot of all the fun you guys were having, I said I've got to make the next one.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had a guy from England come over to.
Yeah, Raleigh came from the UK,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, stayed at my brother's house down in Sanford, Florida. It looks like Ian is DNF'd. He's off in turn 1.
No.
You should pull him up.
Oh boy, yeah. Let's get Ian in here. Hang on 1 second. Ian, there we go. Let's bring him up here.
I'll just warn you guys. It should be. It was PG. Now it should be PG-13.
Ian, Ken, and John in the broadcast booth, buddy. What happened?
Oh, I pulled the double downshift by accident and blew my motor.
So that's it, huh? Day is done?
Yeah. Yep, the engine's dead.
Oh, I am so sorry to hear that, buddy. And I saw some of the progress that you were making throughout the race session here. And boy, oh boy, that's a heartbreaker.
Appreciate that, Ken. Get him next time.
Oh, there's always next week. So, you know what? We're going to hold you hostage up here for a few minutes because you are our recent international traveling man, and we've got a lot of racing here to go yet. So we can talk about just about anything. Tell us about your vacation, man. Where were you?
Holiday was good. I went over to see our European friends there. Spent some time in the Baltic. It was great.
Awesome. Did you get to see any like life-changing venues or anything like that?
Well, let's just say my feet are still sore from walking and seeing the sights. It was a great holiday.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So saw you chiming in the forums every so often while Jack was out there gaining some points for the team on the Monday night Formula Abarth. So let's talk about Formula Abarth with you now. Ian, have you had any time in those cars yet?
Leading up to the season there, just the practice races is all I've been able to have time for. But I'm looking forward to my first race.
Well, we've been having a
broadcast have looked great so far.
Yeah.
It's going to be good fun.
Well, from a racer perspective, I'm kind of sad to see you come back because that means that's at least one less position I can gain on the grid. But no, it's always good to have you out there on the track. Actually, a lot of guys have taken really good to the Formula Abarths. Jack Ivey and myself, after having gone through the school with Brad, I think has helped a lot. And I think I've taken to the cars pretty well. John, your Thursday night buddy John Wathen is also taking to them pretty well. We just got to learn to keep them on track now.
Yeah, John will score some points there for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's just a matter of time. So, you know, we're only 2 races into it with 10 to go. But yeah, definitely looking good. Looking for a lot of good things out of you on Mondays, Thursday nights for you and John Wathen for sure. I mean, you know, it's all fun.
Yep, that's all I need.
How do you find the time to race, man? Your schedule's pretty tight. I mean, you know, being in law enforcement and all that stuff.
It is tight. The off days give me about half hour to practice before the race, so I just hop on and do as many laps as I can, and usually my teammates like John and Marty will send me a setup and we'll just go with it. But
Yeah, we were
just here to putt around there and try and score some points for our team.
That's it. And we were just talking about that. You know, the sense of community that we have here at the NAGP League is, in my opinion, second to none. And we have world-class people, as John had, you know, mentioned. We've got world-class people here at this league, always willing to help a hand, or just so selfless. You know what I'm saying? Just willing to help out.
Yep, absolutely. That makes it so fun here.
Absolutely. So, John, you're kind of quiet there. What's going on, buddy?
I'm just watching some of the racing. I'm looking at Chris. Chris is right up catching Brad.
Yep, I see that. Well, Chris is actually yellow, so Alfonso Rodriguez is giving him a little bit of a run for his money there, too.
Looks like Brad's car is the only
pretty
car
good Brad
on it, so he must be keeping it on track there.
Well, where's Brad? Brad's up in 6th right now, so it's David Poel, Aaron Parsons, John Ludden, Moises Caraballo, Jeremy Bryant, Brad, then Chris. Now, Chris is getting all that pressure from Alfonso Rodriguez, and you know, I mean, Chris doesn't succumb to the pressure so much, but he's got to keep an eye in front and in back now.
Yeah, you're going to want the rear wing view of Brad's car for this one, I think. TV view, I think.
Yep, let's see if
battle there.
Let's see if we can go ahead and get that for you guys. So, and you know, they've got Martin Walters in between them. Martin Walters is a lap down. Scratch that, 2 laps down.
I'm going to say that Brad's probably got the best top speed of the 3 here. He sure pulled up on me and rolled right by me. Had a bit of a fight with Chris. Had a back like this, but we'll see an epic battle here between Brad and Chris, I think.
Well, Chris gets the pass done on Martin Walters now.
Martin, is he one of the Dominicans? We've got a little Dominican contingent going on.
Yeah. So we've got the.
Chris has a run.
Oh man! Wow.
Brad just let him go. Intentional there.
Oh.
Yeah. He went wide. He almost took it off, but managed to make it stick by some miracle.
You know, I think Brad's running around on older tires, and you know, through pit sequence and whatnot, Brad had a mistake somewhere along the lines because he was up there and then fell back to about 12th. I think he's still got a pit here.
Yep, he's got. So Brad actually pitted on at the beginning of lap 31, so he went a full 30 laps before pulling it in, and I believe that he'll be coming in here around lap 62.
We hop down to Al Merriman. Him and John McIntyre have just locked into a battle here.
Jumping back there right now as they, yep, Al and let's see here. Yeah, you know, Johnny Mac has been having a phenomenal race tonight. He's running in 10th, is on the lead lap with these guys, and has just been driving like a bat out of hell from the green flag.
I think he's going to get a run here. He's got some power.
Yeah, that Nissan's got a lot of legs down these long straights. There he goes. Take a look on the inside. It's going to have to make it stick, though. And sometimes that outside line is faster, but no, looks like Johnny Mac gets the pass done.
Alfonso's gotten by Brad as well there.
Yeah, so you know that Brad Maris is certainly suffering some tire degradation in that car, because if he's dropping spots like that, then he's due his pit stop. And I know Brad does not want to pit before that before that lap that he has already pre-selected for pitting. Brad getting all squirrely in the next to last corner there, and he's going to keep it out another couple of laps, I believe. He won't come in until lap 62.
Looks like Moses is using all the gears in the first corner. He's right down to second gear, dropping right down to second. Top speed here.
Unbelievable how good this guy drives with no force feedback. I don't know how he does it.
He's been doing it longer than all of us.
Doing it longer than I've been alive, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
He must have been, because, man, let me tell you, I think my first wheel had force feedback. It was a Logitech wheel, had a blue rim.
Wingman?
Yeah, I think it was one of the Wingmans.
Yep.
It was very basic, and I used it with my PS2. Well, yeah, that was my first force feedback wheel, and then I had this Microsoft wheel, like their very first wheel. It was not for force feedback, but it had this little rubber O-ring on the inside that acted like a damper. I'll never forget that.
You know, getting back to the Dominicans, it's pretty much a tradition around NAGP to, you know, if there's a race near you or near your brother, you know, you got a host. So, you know, the Dominicans can actually, they need to start hosting us on vacation down there. You know, my brother hosted us for Daytona. Ian's willing to host for Mosport. Chuck's hosted us for Indy. You know, Al's got a condo down in Orlando. He's hosted.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'll tell you this much. If Formula One ever comes to New Jersey, you guys are all more than welcome to come and stay at my place. I've got this huge basement down here where my rig is at, and plenty of room to lay your head, and got a wife that loves to cook.
Appreciate that, Ken.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening next year, right?
I believe so. I believe so, and if that's the case, then we'll have to plan something.
Yeah, if they do that street segment, that looks like a really awesome course.
Yep. So you know, we'll keep tabs on it. I believe it's on the schedule for next year. And if so, then
Looks like Al just got put a lap down by David there.
Yes, sir.
I think Al's saving fuel there, going for the fuel mileage race as opposed to the all-out pace type of race.
Yeah, we were just watching that just now because we are on Al, and your race leader just went by. So looks like 60 are down in the books, and they are working on putting down 61 now. Oh, David Poel took it a little wide.
If we look at the guys that are doing the pit strategy, the fuel strategy, Moises is Al's teammate, and he's on the same strategy, and he is in 4th currently, still on the lead lap.
He's about 2 corners behind Ludden. He keeps up that pace, and he's got the same fuel strategy as David does. He could finish 2nd here, I think.
No, he's got the same strategy as Al and Brad.
Al, I mean, I'm sorry.
Al, Brad, and Al, Brad, and Jeremy, because these guys are taking it down to the they're taking it down to the wire on fuel.
Oh yeah, I see Jeremy is in 5th. He's way ahead of Brad.
I would expect that we're gonna see well, who's this that just came by now? Is that Brad or Jeremy Bryant? So that was Jeremy Bryant, and he didn't pit this lap. So, interesting that they can go a full, well, yeah, full 31 laps.
Moises has
I think
20 liters of fuel left right now.
Jeremy pitted a lap early, or a lap. Yeah, I think he pitted a lap earlier than Brad last time.
He did. He pitted on lap 30, and Brad pitted on lap 32, if memory serves me correct. So Chris, I would assume, had another pit stop, right? He's down to 6th, so it looks like he went ahead and pitted again. Wonder if that Aston can make it all the way to the end now.
Looks like Brad's in.
Yep.
No way.
Brad is in.
Something leads me to believe that Brad had a bit of an accident. He had to pit early to get his damage fixed, and that's why he lost his thunder there.
Yeah, he was ahead of his teammate early.
Oh, he's dropped down to 10th now. He's gone.
There he goes.
So he'll slot out in 10th, just ahead of Bjorn Heyman, it looks like. And who's this coming into the pits? Is that Al? Moises comes in.
Brad. No, Jeremy's coming into the pit.
Yep, and Bryant is now in the pits. So yeah, these guys are doing a certainly a 2-stop strategy for this race.
Yep, Moises is in.
So this is going to shake things up a little bit. So David Poel is your race leader. He's got 62 finished, 62 down in the books, and is working on 63 now.
Delivery sweet on David Poel's car.
It amazes me how on the next to last corner, he keeps his foot completely on the gas, does not let up whatsoever. And Brian is out of the pits now. That'll be his last stop for the race. So David Poel just coming up on the back of Johnny McIntyre. Looks like he might be putting him a lap down. No real close battles going on the track right now for position. You got your top 1, 2, 3 on the lead lap. Chris Moses, I would assume, would be still on the lead lap once he crosses that start-finish line. Al's back in the
Just
pits.
ridden on board with David Poel. And no wonder he's leading. Just how smooth he's driving that bike around. Throwing on a hood view. It's impressive.
We were actually on with him a little bit earlier today in the race, and yeah, we did make notice of that. And yeah, he's real smooth on the wheel. As he goes by John McIntyre and puts John McIntyre a lap down.
Looks like John wants it back. He's coming back onto his rear bumper here. He's going by.
Well, well, he's in that Nissan, and McIntyre might have fresher rubber than Poel does.
I'm surprised being a lap down. He's racing so hard.
Well, heck, I'd be looking to ooh, Poel takes it off a little bit there. I'd be looking to unlap myself. But yeah, no, it looks like Poel got it done this time, and he'll probably stay out in front of Mac.
Yeah, I think it was Johnny that Mac was just trying not to lose time there.
Yeah.
Just kept his foot in it. Good racing by both of those guys.
So Aaron Parsons has had a fantastic race tonight. Once Ronnie Nunez dropped out of the race, Parsons inherited second, and aside from some pit rotation position changes, that's where he's been all night. And we've got one of the Smiths left, Nathan Smith, running in 13th. So these are newcomers to the North American Grand Prix League, and I believe they're brothers. One is named Nathan, the other one is Nathaniel.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I was just thinking about that. It's good to see those guys back. They were actually some of the earlier members of NAGP and left, a couple years ago. Probably, family things got in the way of racing, but they just came back for this season. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. It's good to see them back then.
Some good races in GTR2 with those guys.
So what do you guys think about the Assetto Corsa platform versus the older GTR2 platform?
I like it. I like it a lot. I like the way it drives. I like the way it looks. I like the broadcasts. No complaints here. This is great.
What about you, John?
I think it's awesome. It really feels great. I think it's very much more realistic than GTR2.
Yeah. I mean, I've
got a better feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I have long said that GTR2 was perhaps a more complete sim in terms of the features and functions that it had for league racing. But Assetto Corsa, in terms of physics, by far, I think, is superior. Physics and graphics, anyway.
Well, thanks for inviting me up, Ken. I appreciate you wait until they blew my engine, but jump out of here.
Well, listen, you know, I didn't want to mess with nobody while they were like in the heat of the moment, you know what I'm saying? Because that could just throw you for a loop sometime. Now, I know you guys spend your time in the Saturday channel. There's a lot of chit chat going back and forth, but Ian, I know for a fact that once you start getting into a rhythm, you stay quiet in that channel and kind of like block everybody out.
I try, or I ask him to be quiet, one of the two.
Yep, yep, and or we'll ask for a race report. Who's where doing what? Yep.
That's right. Well, have a good night, guys.
All right. Hey, Ian, thanks for joining us for a little bit, man. You have a good night, all right? Get him next week.
Night.
Take care, buddy.
See you, buddy.
So, back out on track. I mean, there are really no close battles going on. Everybody's just kind of settled into a groove. This endurance race certainly testing the mettle of some of these drivers because we're down to 16. We've lost 10 to attrition. And I believe that we've passed the 75% mark, so if the race were to end right now, everybody would score a point. From Iggy Chiordia all the way up to David Poel. John.
You're right. Ken, I will be back in a moment.
Go ahead, you take your time, buddy. So we're back on board with, let's see, who's this? Moises, nope, that's not Moises. This is Bjorn Haight. Oh, that's Johnny McIntyre, actually. Well, I'm getting my drivers mixed up here tonight. Jeremy Bryant coming across the start finish line with a 1:45.699. And Bjorn Heyman into the pits for what is most certainly his last pit stop. So Chris Moses jumps up to 8th spot now as he comes across the start-finish line. Laps to go, 70 down and 22 to go. So David Poel, your race leader here. David Poel not having given up on running in the top 3 for a long time from the green flag, and so his strategy as well as his racing ability has certainly paid off, because he's got a commanding lead over second place Aaron Parsons. And I believe the gap to be somewhere in the 12-second range between Aaron and David Poel. Then John Ludden comfortably running in 3rd. One thing I want to make mention of and remind the drivers of the Thursday Night Assetto Corsa League, those that do watch the broadcast, the rebroadcast, is, guys, if you're not making it to the race, it is the onus is on you to find a suitable replacement for covering your car that week. They are keeping track of those that have no shows, so it is in your best interest to at least try and get a substitute driver to cover you for that Thursday night. Just a reminder. So we're taking a look at John Ludden now as he makes his way through the S's. Jack Ivey running in 12th. And Al Merriman up in 10th. Moises Caraballo up in 4th. Carlos de la Torre in 14th. Jeremy Bryant in 5th. Iggy Chiordia running in 16th. This is Chris Moses running in 6th. Alfonso Rodriguez in 7th. Martin Walters back in 15th. Nathan Smith in 13th. Looks like he's about to put Walters down a lap. Brad Maris in 8th. Johnny McIntyre in 9th. Your second place driver, Aaron Parsons, the wonder from down under. Oh, as Parsons gets it wrong, going into the boot section of the circuit as his rear end starts to fade away and slide out. And Parsons ends up on the grass. Driver John Ludden as he comes across the start-finish line to start on lap number 74. Jack Ivy as he comes down into the boot section of the circuit. Al Merriman coming up on the bumper of Jack Ivy, about to put him a lap down. So, Big Al Merriman with a few scuff marks on that Porsche, but still looking very fast. 75 laps down and less than 20 to go. So we want to thank John Wathen and Ian Jolicoeur for taking the time and coming up here into the broadcast booth with us for a little bit tonight. Hope you gentlemen, unfortunately, you know, their nights ended early, but hope you guys have a good night. And again, thanks for helping us out here. Oh, and Martin Walters takes a DNF. That's going to move Iggy Chiordia up into the 15th spot. So Iggy going to pick up an extra spot now. On board now with Nathan Smith, whose teammate and partner, Daniel Smith, unfortunately had an early retirement tonight. But the brothers have opted to take a ride with Lamborghini in the new Huracan car. So Nathan Smith currently running in 13th. Having a good run here tonight. 73 laps down for Nathan. He's currently working on lap 74. That Lamborghini nearly redlining at the end of that straightaway. Carlos de la Torre. He's currently running in 14th, so Iggy Chiordia has got one more lap to make up, so he can take over that 15th spot. Second place driver, Aaron Parsons, just up ahead, getting by Nathan Smith. As we look out the windscreen, race leader out here, David Poel, smooth sailing for David Poel as he comes and negotiates the last turn before the start-finish line and puts lap 78 to rest and starts on lap 79. That'll give us, what's that, about 13 laps left to go. This is certainly a test of will, resiliency, endurance, patience, and no doubt that these long endurance races like this do take a mental toll on you. These are virtual cars, but the competition is 100% real, guys. Believe me, when you're out there, you're racing, you are the driver, the crew chief, the pit crew, and the team owner all in one. And there is a lot to think about in these sims as you engage in league racing. You gotta come up with your strategy for pitting. Sometimes you may take on aero damage, and that throws a monkey wrench into the plans that you had. So certainly a bit of a mental strain in these longer endurance races. So we started at about 8:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it is now 10:33. So we've been going at it for about 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I'd say we've got about another half hour left before everybody finally finishes. As you can see down there on the number plate, we've got our own custom North American Grand Prix custom plates. And Iggy Chiordia now officially takes over that 15th spot, so we've got 15 drivers left out here on this racetrack. Last week we had a total of 25 drivers qualify. Brad Maris goes by Jack Ivey, putting Jack a lap down. Brad Maris looks now like he might be pushing just a little bit harder now towards the end. We've got 11 laps to go. And your second place driver, Aaron Parsons, driving that Aston Martin. Alfonso Rodriguez having a great race. He's currently running in 7th. And we've lost quite a few guys here tonight. Andres Prieto did not make the race. Rick Crawford, DNS, not a DNF, but a DNS, did not start. Chris Moses running in 6th. Jeremy Bryan in 5th. Moises Caraballo in 4th. Carlos De La Torre currently running in 14th. And it looks like Nathan Smith is in the pits for service. And he's off. This will no doubt, with 10 laps to go, be his last stop. He's running 13th. It's worth 3 points. He's got Jeremy Bryan on his tail, no doubt. Jeremy Bryan going to put him another lap down, but Nathan Smith will certainly give Jeremy that opportunity when the time is right. Of course, when you're being put a lap down, you don't want to give up time either. So you just kind of take it a half step wide at the opportune time around the corner and let that driver behind you who's putting you a lap down just kind of take the inside line, and you kind of take the middle of the track. Living the pits for the last time this race. Moises Caraballo out on track. Aaron Parsons with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:44.129. Bjorn Heyman, Al Merriman, Jack Ivey out there on track. John Ludden running in 3rd. Parsons with a lot of spray up on that Aston Martin. Aaron Parsons qualified 2nd in last week's Super Pole event, and it looks like he is going to take home a 2nd place win. He's just got to keep it together for another 8 laps. And your race leader, David Poel, driving the Dodge Viper SRT. So we're looking at your race leader, David Poel, driving the number 23 Dodge Viper SRT. 84 laps in the books. And 8 laps left to go. David Poel, having started 3rd in this race tonight, has not looked back. Had somewhat of an off-type pit strategy, at least with this broadcaster thought, but as it turns out, it has worked out well for him. Parsons running in 2nd. Long endurance race here for sure. Brad Maris, our resident driving instructor. Johnny McIntyre, one of our tech guys. John Ludden, another one of our tech guys and app developers. Jack Ivey, an all-around cool guy. Al Merriman, the president, owner of North American Grand Prix. Jeremy Bryant, one of our cool, fast guys around here. Bjorn Heyman, one of our loyal supporters and loyal drivers out here week after week after week. I can't say enough about this young man here, Carlos De La Torre. Another one who comes out every week, gives it his best, and no matter what, he is just out here to have fun. And he's being rewarded with points. What can I say? Nathan Smith, I want to say one of our newcomers, but as John Wathen and Ian Jolicoeur corrected me, these guys used to be around in the early days of GTR2 with the North American Grand Prix, so we want to welcome you brothers back to the North American Grand Prix. Hang in there with us, get better, get faster, and give these guys a lot of hell. Chris Moses, one of the administrators of the North American Grand Prix. Alfonso Rodriguez, driving that Corvette C7. Iggy Chiordia, Argentinian racing contingent. We are winding down these laps here tonight, folks. 92 laps at the Glen. Not an easy task by far. Next week we will be doing it up at Montreal, 250 kilometers. About an hour and a half at the Montreal circuit. And these GT cars visit Zandvoort this season also. Interesting. Looks like John McIntyre is going to get some competition here from Mr. Brad Maris. We're going to jump on board with Brad. Here towards the end of the race, John McIntyre running in 8th and Brad Maris in 9th. As Brad works to avoid the wall as he goes through the S's. But that Nissan GTR of John McIntyre's got those long legs down those straights. Hard car to catch. Looks like, let's see here. So that's David Poel behind Alfonso Rodriguez going around Carlos de la Torre. No, it doesn't look like Alfonso is going to be putting too much pressure on Moses. Two laps left to go. 2 laps left to go in this race. Actually, let's see here. Race leader trying to navigate through some lapped traffic here as he goes around Nathan Smith. Your race leader David Poel through the S's. Have to do it one last time. we're going to go ahead and bring David Poel up here into the broadcast booth so we can get that early post-race interview with him and get inside the mind of David Poel, who has pulled off a coup d'etat here tonight with some great driving and pit strategies. So we're going to get inside the mind of David Poel as he comes through the boot section. And this time by, David Poel will be shown the white flag as he comes across with a 1:45.338. Final lap for David Poel, Aaron Parsons, and John Ludden. So your race leader, David Poel, Dodge Viper Power, showing that American muscle can still get it done here on American soil, as he comes into the boot section of the circuit one last time. Through the toe turn. And around the heel he goes, navigating these last two corners for David Poel. NAGP exclusive. Last turn, as he has shown the checkered flag, and your race winner, David Poel, gonna go ahead and take the victory here at the Glen. What a drive, what a drive. Let's go ahead and get David Poel. David Poel, Ken Rodriguez up in the broadcast booth. Do you copy?
Hey Ken, how you doing?
I am doing really well. I should be asking you, how are you doing after 92 laps and nearly 2 hours and 40 minutes out here on the Watkins Glen International Circuit? Congratulations.
Thanks. Better now, that's for sure. It was, yeah, that was a grind for sure. I was just trying to stay as consistent as I could in the last stint, just making a bunch of stupid little mistakes, and all of a sudden Aaron was flying with like 10 or 12 laps to go. I don't know if you saw his lap times popping up, but all of a sudden he really picked it up. I was starting to get nervous, and then it caused some traffic. It was tense for sure, but glad to be able to get home with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to tell you, it was a phenomenal drive by you. You know, unfortunately, your teammate for tonight was having some serious trouble. Alex White had to eventually call it an early night. But I want to talk your strategy here, because I want to pick your mind. What was your strategy going into this race? Because I saw that you were one of the early pitters from the fast group of drivers, and some of them decided to stay out all the way to lap 32. So what was your thinking? What was your strategy? Were you going for 2 stops, 3 stops?
No, I couldn't make it long enough to do 2 stops, so it looked like that maybe was what Al and Brad were doing. But no, I couldn't do that. But I started with full tanks, and I don't think those guys did. I don't think the guys around me did. I figured it'd be worth it. I knew they were faster than me on the straights, so I thought I'd probably lose some positions right at the start, and I had a couple little bobbles as well. So, you know, I just kind of tried to stay in touch with those guys, and then since I had started full, I only needed 75 liters or so at the start, or at the first stop, which apparently those guys must have done. Started with, you know, 90 something, you know, just the amount for the stint. So that worked out real well. It was exactly what I hoped, and basically that was the difference. I mean, the gap between me and Aaron was exactly the same pretty much the entire race. So I'm lucky he didn't do the same thing, or either that or he had some other issue in the stop. But I gained 10 seconds on that first stop, and that was pretty much the story of the race. We were going almost identical pace the whole rest of the time.
So let's talk about the beginning of the race. You know, John Ludden got out to the early lead. He took the whole shot. You had Ronnie Nunez until Ronnie Nunez, I believe, blew an engine. I didn't get an opportunity to find out what happened to him. But then at that point, Aaron inherited second spot, and you held on to third. Now, one thing I noticed about your driving tonight was that you were not willing to let the leaders get too far ahead of you. Was that a part of your strategy as well? Just kind of, kind of hanging in there with the leaders until your pit rotations and strategy started coming into play.
Yep, that was it exactly. Just again, I knew they'd be faster than me on the straight. I was using a fair amount of downforce, and I mean those guys were quite a bit quicker than me on the straight. So I figured I was going to lose some spots, and yeah, so that was the idea is just to stay close enough that hopefully with the higher downforce I'd have better grip as the tires started to go off, and that was turned out to be the way it worked out. So I was able to close up a little bit, and then again with the full tanks, I knew that was going to cost me some lap time early on. So. Yeah, yeah, I'm glad it worked out. I was nervous the whole time. Even when I had a decent gap, I was just watching those guys the whole time, just nervous the whole way. So, but I was able to at least, just drive controlled pace. I never had to push too hard. I could just drive certainly wasn't going easy, but I was not having to push flat out, and I never did. So that was very good, because that would have made it a lot more work and a lot even more nervous and a lot more likely to make mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had mentioned at the top of the broadcast that consistency, a good driving line, and a good strategy were going to be key here tonight. And certainly you symbolize that here tonight with your strategy and the way that you pull this off. We started with 26 drivers and we lost 10 to attrition, so certainly not an easy task to run here for 92 laps endurance races. Of course, you got to be mentally prepared. So not everybody.
Yeah,
Go right ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say you nailed it. Consistency was my goal. That was just stay out of trouble and just be as consistent as possible, and that's that's how it played out. So I was glad to get it in there.
Well, again,
a great drive by Aaron. He never made any mistakes either. Apparently, he had one little thing that lost him some time, and other than that, I mean, I was hoping he would drop back as the tires went off or something, but he never did. So I mean, we almost just matching each other lap for lap. It was it was pretty interesting actually.
It was actually,
we weren't right next to each other. It felt like close racing.
Yeah, it actually was pretty incredible, and like you said, he did start picking up the pace there towards the end. But the odds were in your favor tonight, David, and certainly a good start to the race season for 05 Motorsport. Like I said, unfortunately, Alex had to drop out. I believe that your partner is back next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, and we'll be back. So we're looking forward to that. I know he's looking forward to getting behind the wheel. He was bummed out to have missed this event, so I know he's anxious to get back. And I'd love for Alex to have been able to score some points. I'm sorry to hear he had some problems, but I'm sure Andrew would be glad not to have weight. So at least there's that.
Yep. That's the one. That's one positive. That's one way to look at it and pull a positive out of a negative. So, again, big congratulations to you and 05 Motorsport and all the team. All the hard work you guys are putting in there. We are looking forward to great things this season from you guys, and enjoy the victory.
Yep. Thanks, Ken.
All right, buddy. Take care. So that's going to do it for us here at the North American Grand Prix. And so you heard it from David Poel. Consistency was key here tonight. We mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. And, of course, the dividends paid off here. So, we're going to see how this shapes up. Again, we'll be coming to you again next week at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So we go back to our regular broadcast start of 9 p.m. And again, for the North American Grand Prix, my name is Ken Rodriguez. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.